Well, good morning to you. I hope you are having a good day so far. And I just want to share very quickly on something that is usual, something that is ordinary, and hopefully it will be a blessing to you. And we'll read from Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. And it reads, I will stand at my watch and station myself on the ramparts. I will look to see what he will say to me and what answer I am to give to this complaint. Then the Lord replied, write down the revelation and make it plain on the tablets, so that a herald may run with it. This is a prophet, Habakkuk, and the first chapter he's been speaking about, pouring out his heart, expressing himself on the concerns of the day and what the people were going through. He's expressing himself to God. And at the beginning of the second chapter, he says, now I will wait and see what God will say to me. And I just want to ask you this morning, are you convinced, or how convinced are you that God speaks? How sure are you persuaded that God responds, not by answering prayer, but that he actually speaks in this day and age? It's one thing to know, God speaks, and you cannot dispute that, theology, and, God does speak. God has spoken to people in the past, he still speaks to people, but are you convinced that God can speak to you as an individual? This was Habakkuk. After he had said everything, he said, now let me wait and see what God will say to me. In your moments of prayer, after expressing yourself, after, pouring out your heart to God, do you have a moment when you say, now, let me sit and see what God will say to me? Let me take a pause and wait and see what God will respond concerning the things I have poured out to him. Or do you pray and just proceed, make your way through things, and whether the answer comes or not, whether God has a different thing in mind, or, whether he will you have prayed, you've poured out your heart, you've done your due diligence, and now you go ahead and battle things. And man, we go through life that way, don't we? We just go through life that way. How many of us actually pause after you have prayed? How many of us deliberately pause for a couple of minutes to say, okay, all right, God, I'm here. I've poured out my heart. What do you want to say to me? What would you respond in this situation? And I think that conviction, that the ability to do that comes from the conviction that God still speaks to ordinary people, and that he can speak to you and me. And like the prophet, when he did that, in chapter 2, verse 2, the Bible says, and then God spoke. We don't know how long it was before when he stood and when God spoke, we don't know. But the assurance is he spoke, he kept silent, and God spoke to him. I believe God has so many things to say to us in relation to the concerns that we bring to him, the requests, the prayers. He has so much to say to us. Are we willing to pause after we have prayed? To just take a minute, maybe with a pen and something, and just pause and allow him to speak to us. He might do so in the instant, he might do so during the day, but having the expectation that I talk to God about this thing and he will speak to me about it, just going through the day with that expectation of God speaking to us, it makes all the difference. So God bless you.